Welcome to Critical Condition Sports. My name's Jose, and I love to talk about sports way too much. Today, I'm being joined by my good friend Nick Clark. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good, brother. It's been a while, man. It's been a while. It's great to have you on.
Yeah, man, keeping busy. Keeping busy. All the football news and everything going on. It's definitely been a crazy couple of weeks and months in professional sports, just in general.
Yeah. Well, before I go on, I just want to go on the show and just wish you a happy belated birthday, brother. I know that that happened last week. Happy belated birthday to you, bro.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it always. Number
Awesome.
23.
Yeah, man. Ooh,
You only turned 23 once, so
for sure. So
so
dreaded off season just started. It's been about a week or two. Don't quote me. It's been a very long day since we've had football. The Super Bowl was 2 Sundays ago. So going into it now, lots of news have come out, especially today. Carson Wentz has been officially been traded to the Indianapolis Colts. We finally got the answer us to the where and the what was given up. The Colts only gave up a third round pick for this year's upcoming NFL draft and a conditional 2022 second round pick. My view and my takeaway on this, Nick, was something that my dad told me a while back when I was a kid. And it's better to not talk and be thought of as a fool than to speak and be known as a fool. And what I mean by that is the fact that the Colts, not really, that's not the Colts, I'm sorry, but the Eagles were wanting this Matthew Stafford kind of a package. And obviously seeing what they got in return, it was nothing near that. And everyone's been clowning on them. What do you think? And what is your takeaway from this trade, Nick?
um well, I think personally, well, first off, I think Carson Wentz wanted to leave. And I think that kind of it came that way towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
I don't think that he wanted to be on the Eagles. I think, once you get a player that starts to not want to play for you, it can become, an unpleasant environment, locker room, all those kind of things. And that's the same thing. We have the stall on Deshaun Watson. We don't know what's going to happen with that. But as far as the Carson Wentz trade goes, like I said, I think the Eagles were desperate to get rid of him.
Okay.
And they saw that, the Colts seemed like a place that Carson would probably be happy because, again, that's a team that's, at least the way it's set up right now, is quarterback friendly. Like I said, they got, they have some run talent. They have an offensive line. They have a defense. They have receivers, young receivers, Michael
Yeah.
Pittman Jr. They have receivers on. And of course, you have, Frank Reich, who has the history of working with Carson Wentz. And the Colts pretty much just gave him 2 bags of potato chips for Carson
There you go.
Wentz. Now, obviously, draft picks, it's always a hit or miss. But like I said, the Eagles fans are upset because I guess they wanted more in return. I don't think a lot of them are upset that they got rid of Wentz, even though I think a lot of us knew that Carson Wentz had more potential than kind of what we got from him.
Mhm.
Um, but I think the Colts are, and I said this weeks ago, I think the Colts are one of the best teams that he could possibly go to see his rate of success. And I think the Colts are designed to work good with Carson Wentz. So I think, in all honesty, it was a good trade. But again, now the Eagles are going to be running with Jalen Hurts, who we saw a couple of games of last year, and he showed some potential. But like you said before we started the podcast, like you said, Eagles look like they're trending downwards fast, and
Oh, definitely.
I think Carson Wentz is I think he's happy that the Colts are going to be a new beginning for him, and I think that if he stays healthy and all the chips fall into place, I think it'll work out well for him.
Definitely. I agree with you. So, three takeaways from this for me, real quick, were one, the Colts have their guy. That was the lone burning question. The biggest one, the most important one for the Colts was who was going to be the quarterback. A lot of people were talking about this team being a quarterback away. Frank Reich and the Carson Wentz connection was obvious. Number two, for me, it's the fact that Philadelphia is quickly becoming a dumpster fire. They, drank the Kool Aid a little bit too much after that Super Bowl. And, three, I think that as long as Wentz stays healthy, like you just alluded to right now, I think that this Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott situation, or the debate that has been lingering between both of these guys, will be put to rest with Carson being the better quarterback, in my opinion, on there. So those are some good takeaways on that end. Now, do you feel like Jalen Hurts will work though? Because I really don't think I think the Philadelphia Eagles made the wrong decision here, Nick. I think they did.
In trading, or
No,
is trading away Wentz or
sticking with
sticking to
Jalen
Hurts?
Hurts.
Well, we
Sticking with
don't.
Jalen.
If you think about it too, I mean, like I said, Hurts is on the team now, and obviously, as of this podcast, he's the starter. But you also don't know if the Eagles are gonna, what I don't know what their draft number is. What do they have?
So the
Do they
Eagles
have a
have the
first round
sixth
pick?
pick.
The sixth pick. They I don't know who'll be available
They,
at
well,
sixth
they
pick.
they can go quarterback. They can go quarterback. Guys like
They could,
Fields, Wilson will be taken. Lawrence will be taken. But
yeah,
there's
Lawrence
still
should be the first pick.
yeah,
But
there's still Lance.
I wouldn't be shocked. I don't know if they will, but I wouldn't be shocked to see the Eagles take a quarterback either. Because like I said, if Hurts, like what is every quarterback's different, but like I said, you saw a couple games from him, so at least it's not like he's being thrown right into the fire. He's never played an NFL game. Obviously that first game he played, I think they beat the Saints.
Yes, they beat the Saints. Yes.
And he showed potential. I don't know if they're quick enough to. I think, and again, I think one of the reasons why Hurts was put in the game or put in the quarterback,
yeah,
right, is because I think the Eagles looked at it as, what were they at the time? 2-7, 2-8, maybe 3-9.
So I'm not exact. No, they were 3-8-1, 3-8-1 at the
Okay,
time.
you're 3-8-1, and at that point in time, I don't know if they were still in the mix for the division.
They were there. They still had some sort of life left. I mean, it's the NFC least or the East. I'm sorry, the NFC East.
No, you got it right. You got it right. I think that they were kind of at a point where we're not doing anything this season. Let's put this rookie in and see what he's got. Give him a couple of games, because it was week 12 or 13, I think, when Hurts was, and Wentz never played. He never took another snap,
No,
right?
He did not take another snap. No, so they lost.
And who was there
Money.
another? There was another guy too. I completely forgot when Hurts did. Was there?
So the reason. So now the reason why we're calling this even more of a dumpster fire is because Peterson benched Hurts for Sudfeld in a one possession game.
That was week 16 or 17. Oh, that was the game where the Giants were waiting on the Eagles to beat Washington so they could make the playoffs, and then the Eagles gave him the finger. Got it.
Yeah, pretty much. Essentially, that's what it does. But now, so here's the thing, Nick. So you've been an avid sports fan, avid football fan. So I think you can definitely hear me out when I tell you this. Jalen Hurts, and I'm a big OU fan, college fan. Saw him play. Solid player, didn't really wow me. Is it fair for me to say that there's more Kyle Allen? Because when Kyle Allen started playing for Cam last season, everyone was wowed by him. And
yeah, he had a couple of good games.
This is the guy. This is the next guy. Obviously, that didn't work out. Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! People, Kyle Allen's not even in Carolina anymore. As to compared to like a Mahomes or a Russell Wilson, that they took a couple snaps as a rookie, and you were already convinced that this was the guy. Is it fair for me to say that there's more of a Kyle Allen upside with Jalen than it is for a good solid competitor like in Wilson and Mahomes? And I'm not trying to compare Jalen to that, but we knew right away. We knew right away these guys are special. They can do it. Is it fair for me to say that?
I mean, I would to be on the safe side, I would probably assume that. But I mean, again, there's certain guys, like they said, they just start playing football and there's certain people that see it better than us. Like we see as fans, we know, but there's former players, there's former quarterbacks. And when they tell you usually early on in somebody's career that somebody's going to be special, they see something that we don't see because they know, because they played the game. You can tell, Mahomes, obviously, he's got a bomb squad to work with, but even on a team that was average or lesser than average, you can tell by the way he plays quarterback that he's a very good quarterback. I don't think anybody takes that. And the same thing goes with Russell Wilson. I know Seattle kind of, they impress, but when it matters the most, they seem, at least in the last couple of seasons, just to completely fold over and die. But yeah, I mean, I think the Eagles will sign a quarterback. Now, who that quarterback is, I don't know if it's one that they're going to draft, but I think that they'll sign somebody just in case. Now, I don't, like I said, Dwayne Haskins signed with Pittsburgh. That's like, I look at Dwayne Haskins as like an emergency. Like if the Steelers, if Ben, doesn't, right, and he gets hurt, or they have at least somebody who has some type of experience. Now, obviously, Dwayne Haskins is not going to have his number retired in Pittsburgh. At least I don't think. But as far as Jalen Hurts goes, like I said, there's definitely potential. But see, my only problem is that it's difficult because how do you judge a decent quarterback who's on a bad team? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of hard. It's hard to say, because then again, the Eagles start off 3-4-0. There's going to be parades everywhere. But if they start off 0-3 and 0-4, all of a sudden, right. And you know how, I mean, Philadelphia is not from a player standpoint, it's definitely not an easy place to play. But like I said, I would probably go with the Kyle Allen comparison, but I think he has potential, but I don't know. I still think the Eagles have some tricks up their sleeve before the season starts.
Definitely. So I'm just a little concerned when it comes to Jalen, just because I view him as a run first kind of a quarterback. I feel like his
Right.
biggest strength is running than it is for passing. And but the thing is, and people want to point would want to point out to Lamar, but Lamar's a very special, gifted athlete when it comes to running. It's something that you can't truly prepare for when a guy's running to you at that speed. Obviously, there's a slight drop off there, but regardless, it's going to be very interesting what Philadelphia does. Who knows? Maybe you're right in the sense where they draft a quarterback that high and shock us. That could be an
I'm
option.
not, and I don't know if they would draft a quarterback, but I think that at some point in time they will sign a quarterback,
Yeah, definitely.
whether it's a guy that's a free agent that's was an average quarterback, or just to be safe, because again, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket with a rookie who had a couple of good games last season. Not saying that he won't be good, because you don't know that, but again, it's definitely difficult shoes to fill. But again, somebody's got to do it. But one of the other things I was going to say too, you just mentioned. What did you just mention? You said before.
When it came to drafting them, and or the comparison to him and Lamar, or the concern when it
Oh,
comes to
again,
him running
Lamar
first.
too. Yeah, I think Lamar too. I think he's a good quarterback, but and I don't like the people that say he's just a running back. Um I don't think that he's a great quarterback. It's kind of hard to say that about somebody. I think that he's a hell of an athlete,
Yes,
and
but
he
it
he
pops out
definitely
to you
has
though.
quarterback right potential. But I don't know. Like Lamar's kind of a hit or miss kind of guy,
I
because
agree.
it's
I
like
agree with you.
he's not going to throw for 300 and throw for 5 touchdowns. Well, it depends who they play, but he's
Definitely,
more of like a Mr. Showtime kind of.
definitely. Now let me segue to
Maybe
defense
not in the
backs.
playoff games, but
Oh, well,
and
yeah. Well, that's a
he
dumb
hasn't really had any type of playoff success. Of course, his first playoff win is against us, but that's another
against the
story.
Titans.
But
Well,
yeah,
now let me segue to this. Now, I talked about how I think the Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott debate will be over in a couple years, as long as Wentz stays healthy. As long as Wentz stays, that's a big if, man. It's a big if. But why? The reason why I say that is because, look, I'm from Texas. I live in Texas. I hear all these Cowboy fans. I hear a lot of hate towards their division rivals, which I understand, and a lot of hate goes to Carson Wentz. They don't like him. Obviously, he's not a very loved person here in Texas. Now, I've seen these debates. Oh, when Dak Prescott's way better than Carson Wentz, yada yada yada. But here's the thing, Nick. Going into the situation that, and you said it right now as best as you can. It's really hard to judge a quarterback on a bad team or a badly run team. Now,
mm-hmm.
what I do know for the upcoming season, if Wentz stays healthy, is I look at the coach. Check. Wentz has the better coach between Dallas and Indianapolis.
I would say so.
Front office, Chris Ballard versus a Jerry Jones or a Steven Jones. I think I'd give the edge to Carson Wentz. Correct? Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the offensive line, I think the Indianapolis Colts offensive line is better than the Dallas one. Indianapolis
They're
is
both,
younger.
yeah.
Dallas is aging. Tyrone Smith, he gives you about 12 games a year. It's aging. It's aging with whether it's with Martin Collins, who didn't even play this season. It's aging. I would give the edge to Indianapolis. We can debate on that one, but I would still give it to Indianapolis. Running game. Zeke's become a liability, and you're paying him too much. The
I think the
Colts,
Colts are deeper too.
yes,
They
exactly.
have
They're
Mack and
deeper, and they're
Taylor,
paying less money
right?
there.
They still Marlon Mack is still
Marlon
on
Mack
the
is
team.
there, but he went down
He's
with
just
an
been
injury.
hurt. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
he's been hurt. Yeah,
Regardless,
Jonathan
though,
Taylor has
they're not
definitely.
paying them though. You know what I mean? Though they're not
Yeah,
paying them, so I think I'd give the edge to the Colts. Sure, Dallas has better receivers, but I think that with everything working with Carson Wentz right now, I think that that's going to help him separate himself from Dak. And he's going into the situation that pretty much Dak walked in as a rookie with, the line, maybe the coaching, subpar,
right.
whatever you want to call it. But I think Carson Wentz is in a better situation. Do you agree with the take that Carson Wentz could separate himself from Dak
He
in the
could,
coming
but
years?
I think again the reason why he hasn't is because of his resume. Because I feel like a lot of people will look at resume and they'll look at the injuries. And again, when you talk about Carson Wentz, there's a lot of different takes people can have. They can say,
Okay.
"Oh, bad team." They could say the injuries. They could say this and that. They could say, but I think, like I said before we started recording, I said that Carson Wentz, the best team that he could go to would be the Colts, because,
Yeah.
like I said, he had the familiarity with the coach, and that team is designed to welcome a good quarterback,
For
especially
sure.
especially being Wentz in his situation all these years on the Eagles. No disrespect to the 13-3 season, and the Super Bowl magical run that he didn't really take part in, but he led them to the playoffs. No disrespect to that, but I think this is like the perfect thing that could happen to Wentz is to
Yeah.
put him on a team that is a lot more welcoming and quarterback friendly. And as far as the Prescott things goes, I think that Prescott is more valuable to his team than Wentz was to the Eagles. And the reason that I say that is because look at how bad the Cowboys were without Dak Prescott.
Okay.
Look at, and again, that's one of the things. And even without Wentz, the Eagles aren't really that great either, but they were able to still play in games where I felt like the Cowboys, they just had nothing to them. Like I feel like Dak Prescott, and again, there's always the best player on every team, but I felt like Dak Prescott was really the heart of the Cowboys, and he's kind of just gives them that extra jolt where when he's on the field, think of, you play Madden, right?
Yes.
You know what your X factor is?
Yes. There are
Okay,
special
so
abilities.
right. So I think of it this way. I feel like think of Prescott as the quarterback, and when he's on the field, everybody has their X factor.
Okay.
And I feel like without Prescott, there's no heart, there's no leadership. And that's no disrespect to Zeke or any of the other guys. And again, of course, that team is also designed to be quarterback friendly. I mean, look at who they have to throw to.
Yeah.
It's very quarterback friendly. And that's one of the things, like you mentioned, Prescott has better success, but he's also stayed healthier more and he has a better team to work with. If Wentz in the next 2-3 seasons is mediocre or less than average, then I think it's safe to say it's Prescott. I think people say it's Prescott now because they've seen more from him and he's done more than what Wentz has done.
Definitely. Now, I will point out though, Carson Wentz did take a bunch of deck chairs and pieces of furniture to the playoffs last season when the injuries were riddling his receiving core. I will point that out though. Sure, it might have not been against good, solid teams. I will concede to that, but Carson Wentz, I mean, see, that's why this debate to me, it's so you can go either way.
It's a difficult one.
Yeah, and it's a good one. It's a good debate. It's if you're a football fan, sports talks fan. I mean, it's you can go so many different ways with that. But now to end this off, though, question now for you: let's say they pay Dak Prescott, let's say they pay them a ridiculous amount of money, and it's the money that Dak wants. Let's just say, who has the biggest pressure to produce? Is it the Colts and Carson Wentz because of how people, like what you said, it's a very quarterback friendly place. They have a roster. They are a team that, again, people were saying is a quarterback away. That, obviously will have Super Bowl aspirations there. Or will it be Dak Prescott and the Cowboys who have the most pressure if, like on Dak Prescott's shoulders, they're paying him the money to take him to the next level, and that is a Super Bowl championship in Dallas. Who has the most pressure going into next season, in your opinion, if Dak gets the money that he wants?
As an individual, I think it's Carson Wentz
Okay.
because I think that he's desperately due for just straight success, especially after what's happened with him. If you're talking about a straight individual, I think the pressure is more on Carson Wentz because now there's no more excuses. Now you're on a team that has a good offensive line. The team has good receivers. The team can run the ball. Your defense can help you. Your defense can make sure that you don't have to throw for 400 yards a game because the Colts have that defense. So the pressure is more on Carson Wentz in terms of production, but in winning, I think it's more on Dallas because Dallas is starting to get frustrated. And I do think that, I don't know if it'll be what he wants, but I do think that Dallas will give Dak Prescott his money because if they don't know how valuable he was before, how valuable he was the second that he got hurt, I think that should speak volumes. And again, I'm not saying he deserves to be paid, given a $500 million contract, but I don't know what other option the Cowboys have other than to pay Dak Prescott.
But real quick, Nick, before we close it out, is there anything you want to let the audience know?
Anything I want to let the audience know? I'm not sure exactly. Hold on. That's my battery. Make sure you check on your boy. He lives in Texas. And check on, if you have family and relatives that live in Texas, make sure you check on them. Because from what you told me, like I said, you have a firsthand experience.
There you
good luck to you and obviously everybody that's going through that. I can't imagine being in that situation and not being prepared. But then again, it's from you. It's in Texas. Texas doesn't, nobody in Texas expects snow, and it doesn't snow in Texas. So
twice in a week, man. Twice in a week.
Twice in a week. When's the last time it snowed?
It's been about 3 to 4 years, man. About 3 to 4 years, I'd say.
That's crazy. How did that even happen? Like, when did it snow last week?
No, yeah, it snowed on Sunday, and it's snowing as of the recording of this. It's Thursday, so Yeah, man, it'll be interesting, man. You're then
I
under a
do
7 day stretch.
I do a YouTube as well for the people that are still listening. It's Nick's World, NICKZWORLD, and then my Instagram is Nick_lit_Clark CLARK. I haven't been posting much on YouTube, but I'll definitely be back on that, and I'm sure I'll be as soon as I can start having guests on my show. Obviously, you'll be one of the first people I reach out to. Um, and yeah, we could definitely dive into some other stuff, basketball or whatever next time. But the Carson Wentz talk was definitely some stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, that was Nick Clark. And to everyone listening, thanks for listening. If you're in Texas, be safe, take care, drive slow. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.